Hi, everybody. Welcome to Small Steps, Big Life. My name is Nathan Aswell. I'm based in Vancouver, BC, Canada. And today I have the extreme pleasure of speaking to my friend Holly Duckworth, who is based in Denver, Colorado. And Holly is many things: an author, a coach, a consultant, a speaker. But I think what we're going to get her to speak about today is what it means to be a spirit strategist. Hi, Holly.
Hi, Nathan. It's good to see you. Well, coming live from Denver, Colorado, where, of course, your neighborhood is completely quiet all day long until you get on a blab. So if you hear my wonderful neighbors next door, we just send their dogs love and light. Oh, well, it's we live in the all-knowingness of spirit, right? That somewhere in this is all perfect and divine. I'm so glad that we actually connected in Bali 6 or 8 weeks ago, gosh, and had brainstormed having the show. And how perfect is it? Leap day. Yep. We're leaping into life.
That's right. And so before we officially began the call, I was trying to remember when we had actually met, and you had reminded me that we met at the GSS, the Global Speaker Summit Conference, which happened in Vancouver in December 13. And then about 2 months after that, we were both together at the Centers for Spiritual Living annual conference, which in 2014 happened in Orlando. And we've just sort of been in touch and connected through other people ever since, including my partner, Jana, who is now living in your fair city sometimes. So anyway, I'm happy to be deepening our connection, Holly, and to be sharing you with the world, with a wider audience. Let's tell people about you. So where should we begin? I know that your spiritual quest, your spiritual journey is a big part of who you are. And the way I like to frame it is at some point there's some important experience that happened, what I call a turning point, or something that kind of got you onto the path that you're now on. What would you say that was?
Wow. Life never exactly looks the way that you think it will. I grew up in Portland, Oregon, actually just moved to Denver 3 years ago. Mm-hmm. And I grew up with really no religious and or spiritual tradition whatsoever, but always had sort of an inner knowing, a deepening of other things, that there was a purpose, but I never really could connect into it. Mm-hmm. By life grace, I married a wonderful man. We were married for 5 years. Mm-hmm. And after 5 years, we divorced. And in that later part of the marriage and into the divorce, I was really seeking a teacher, a connection. He was Catholic, and I just really didn't connect to his traditions. So I, kind of like you and I have met over the years, I met a woman named Reverend Christine Green, a minister in the Unity movement in Portland, Oregon, and had the opportunity to take some classes with her, and really started to lean into my spirituality more as a result of that work. And I always love to tell that story because your watching ship, your viewership is going to come from many paths in life. Mm-hmm. And so often, the more circles around the planet that we get, we think, oh, been there, done that, or, is it too late for me to bring in the spiritual principles? And, I really just started studying these principles about 6 years ago, and they become a really dominant part of my life. And as I look over my path, there's clear hints that were there all along the way, but now it's coming into full expression.
Cool. So tell us about that. So this began, and then, as I was saying to you when we were speaking a couple of days ago, I'm a firm believer that, everything in life is nothing but a series of small steps that lead from one thing to another. And I think you are a perfect embodiment of someone who is living, a big life. Not that your journey is over by any means. You're constantly evolving and expanding, as we all are. And I just think that what you're doing is really juicy and interesting. And so I would like people to just kind of have a sense of, what the journey has been like for you in the last, let's say, 5 years, 6 years. Is that kind of your framework? Yeah.
I knew when I graduated from college that was never the end of life learning for me. Mm-hmm. So I stepped into a community, we referenced it earlier, CSL, or Centers for Spiritual Living in Oregon. Oregon. And I took their introductory class, which was called Foundations. Other churches might call it Beyond Limits. And this was just a really great exploratory class on all of the faith traditions, focusing in on Ernest Holmes and his religious science teachings from a book called The Science of Mind. It was a 10-week class. Really, I was like, oh, I'll take one class. What have I got to lose? And in the middle of that class, I was learning to deepen my own listening and surrounding myself with wisdom teachers. And I want to just clarify, Nathan, that word wisdom teachers, because these weren't people necessarily with degrees sitting on, big marble, platforms. These were my fellow peers. Became gurus and teachers to me, sharing their own experiences, just like you get to capture within the various interviews you have on your show. So that first class turned into a second class, which turned into a third class. And the faith journey evolved. My marriage did transition out, and several new friends and intimate relationships have evolved that brought me here to Colorado. And I moved here May of 2013. For the opportunity to grow and expand my company. At the time, my company was dedicated to association leadership, teaching volunteerism. So how to recruit, how to retain and maintain volunteers in nonprofit associations. Little did I know I was moving to Mile High Church, which is the largest church in the movement with about 10,000 members. And by Life Grace, it is also the worldwide headquarters for Centers for Spiritual Living. And just as my initial small step of listening and taking those classes brought me to this point, once I got here, it was a listening process again. And spirit message, some people might call it intuition, came to me, write for an international magazine. Huh? Me? What? I'm a small town girl who grew up in little teeny Wilsonville, Oregon. Me? Write for an international magazine? And I laughed it off 3 times. Message kept coming in. Nope, not doing it. Nope, not doing it. And I finally, here's a spiritual practice, surrendered. And I said, okay, fine. Whatever this intuition is, if you want me to write for this magazine, you got to do the work. And I took my hands and I put them on the keyboard and I typed what I was hearing. Wow. Here's the goal of the column. Here's what you're uniquely qualified to say and do. It was a small step. And then I said, okay, now what? And the name came through, send it to the new editor at Science of Mind magazine. I'm just listening and doing small steps. I sent the email off, and 48 hours later, Diane Bishop, the current editor of Science of Mind magazine, called me up and said, I'd love to talk to you about spirituality and business. We don't currently have a focus in that. And we had a conversation. I presented a 12-month program for her of what I would like the program to be. And just coming up soon, I'll be celebrating my first year of writing for their magazine. So little steps, sometimes you don't see the next step, have brought me to this opportunity to share spiritual tools for business transformation.
So I just want to go back a bit. So how did you go from writing that first article that you sent to her to having something 12 months? Like, did you just say, oh, I'll give you something 12 months and then sit down and write it? Or like, what was that process? Great
question. Walking this path called life on the small steps, while I believe there's this deeper inner knowing in myself, I'm always asking myself questions and listening. I think there's also a place for knowing who else to ask. Right. And I knew some other folks that wrote columns for the magazine. So I called them up and I said, oh my gosh, I got a meeting at Science of Mind. What do I do? and what's my next step? And so, we have to be willing to ask. And so he had recommended that I spend some time in meditation in my own process to think about what would that look like, what would it feel like, and what would it sound like if I was granted a column. And so, that's another tip we could talk about, Nathan, is, as you're looking at your small steps, the words are powerful, but the feelings behind it were powerful too. And I think for me, the confidence that I got sort of faking out these magazine articles really, really helped me along the way.
Wonderful. So you've just beautifully answered the second thing that I usually ask people is, so who helps you on your journey? So I appreciate, and of course, fully expected you to say that there have been other people, and I commend you for taking that step, for reaching out to other people and saying, what do I do? And, getting the help that you needed, which is great.
Well, there's lots of asks. One of the chapters in my book is how to recruit, retain, and maintain volunteers. And research in that nonprofit arena says the number one reason that people volunteer is because they are asked. And yet, so often we're not trained in how to ask. We go through school and it's, how do you do the chemistry project? How do you do the biology project? Here as I was in school, how do you type? And skillfully learning how to ask for help oftentimes has moved me from places in my life where I'm not moving to places of little steps that move me forward. So having a clear intention, but also an open heart that says, okay, I don't know how to write this magazine column. You've done it before. How can you help me out? Is a really great way to do that. But there's, again, formal teachers and informal teachers along the way that have helped me out for sure. And
have you been someone who has found it easy to reach out and ask people for help in whatever through your life, or is that a relatively new skill you're learning as well, or deepening, getting better at these days?
I'm horrid at this skill. This is not Holly's strength.
I see.
They say you teach that which you must most need to learn. I am grateful for, again, these listening skills, that sometimes it's the right people landing in your path at the right time, that you're not even making a deliberate ask, but you're just unconsciously there at the right time. Right. It's a courageous and vulnerable act. And the more that I do this spiritual practice, spirit for me meaning honors all paths to God, all paths to good, starting with that inner self-love, helps me to remember that every person, place, and thing I come into contact with is also coming from a place of love, has been an open door to help me feel comfortable asking people for support.
Yay. Congratulations.
It's a journey. It's a process every day.
Yeah.
But technology makes it easier nowadays too. Drop an email, send a postcard. I did a webinar 2 weeks ago with a colleague we both have in common, Laura Stack, and she's the productivity pro, and she talks about using Fiverr as a way to boost her network and her productivity. And last week, I took a risk. I put out two requests on Fiverr for 2 small projects, and I was able to get 2 projects done for under $100. That I calculate out if I had done my time on them, it would have been over 1,000. So wow. There's formal business exchanges, but also certainly I've had professional mentors along the way, and always in that law of circulation, giving back. There's always somebody in my Rolodex that I'm also mentoring.
Wonderful. For the 2 people in the Western Hemisphere that don't know, Fiverr, FIVERR.com, is a website which enables you to negotiate with people to do any one of a number of things. The beginning, when I say beginning in quotation marks, asking price is $5, but as you get into it, you'll see that $5 will get them doing a portion of whatever it is you would like them to do for you, and then you can negotiate in any direction to get all kinds of things done, photocopying, typing, voiceover work, you name it. It seems the sky's the limit. It's a whole universe of people offering all kinds of skills. So yeah. So you've now you're just coming up on completing your first year. And of course, you haven't been doing that in a vacuum. It seems to me, from what I know of you, that your desire to write for Science of, what's the name of the magazine again?
You got it, Science of Mind.
Is it Science of Mind? Sorry, I blanked for a second. I saw it and I thought, no, that's not quite right. So as that's been happening, as I think you've kind of been talking about, it just sort of opens you energetically to other things and has been changing your business model and how you offer what you offer in the business world. Yes?
Isn't it that they say, at least from the American mindset, the only constants are death and taxes, or change and taxes, or something like that.
You roll with it, baby. You make it your own. I thought it was death and taxes, but you want to take it in another direction.
My whole life is all about, change, and it's a spiritual process. You have to die to one thing to become something new, and so. Don't get lost in the drama of the word dying, but think about in your own career, when you're taking a small step, sometimes you have to let go of or release or die to what you were to become what you're supposed to be. I call that stuck between no longer and not yet. I'm no longer purely a speaker, but I say I'm not yet a full-time consultant. Right.
And let me ask the question that I asked a minute ago better, hopefully, and that is, am I right in saying that there wasn't always, I don't know if I'm right about this, would it be right for me to say that there wasn't always a spiritual component in your speaking, in your teaching, in your coaching, or has it been, and it's just been getting more and more developed, more and more cornerstone, I guess, of who you are and what you offer?
No, you're right. My spirituality was never a primary lead in the work that I was doing. It was really based around my initial focus areas. I had 10 years as a career as a professional meeting planner, and then moved to the association world. And then now with this transition into becoming a prayer practitioner, I'm really saying I'm sort of the vortex of those three things: meeting planning, business, spirituality, and leadership. My belief is there's a consciousness of the planet shifting. You're hearing the words mindfulness, conscious business, meditations, affirmations. And while those things are all really great, Marianne Williamson, when she was here at Mile High a year ago, she says, we're all getting really good at doing our individual work, whatever that looks like for you. Self-help classes, books, reading, meditation. What we're not quite so good at just yet is our collective work. And so my focus is bringing spirit, authenticity, love, joy into that collective work that happens to come on the platform of business, because we spend more than 50% of our life at work.
Right. So just kind of coming back to some of the things you were saying in a joking way before, I guess it's been kind of scary. Or has it been? I'm kind of curious to explore that with you. Was it scary for you to kind of own a more spiritual component to your offerings in the business world? Did you think, oh God, they're never going to go for that, or they're going to think I'm too woo-woo, or did you struggle with that, or as that was developing in you, did you just think, no, this is a natural progression, and I have enough of a client base now that they will get that, they will see that and say, yeah, that makes sense?
I struggle with that every moment of every day. And another little Hollyism: stare fear in the eye and go forward anyway. It was last September that I made the initial letter to my followership saying, I resign. That was the name of the email, my resignation letter, from being just a traditional volunteer speaker to being what hadn't yet been coined spirit strategist. And that brand continues to grow and evolve. And yes, it is still scary. And it's people like yourself that keep showing up saying, what about this? Or think about this. I got a call from a corporation last week looking for a job description and hiring process for what they were calling a CSO, Chief Spiritual Officer. Wow. And it's been a wonderful opportunity to have a dialogue about, as companies evolve, how can we honor spirit, again, not religion, but spirit in our workplaces. Yeah.
I just want to take a second and just acknowledge both Lewis and Canuck Runner for being a part of our conversation. Thank you.
Welcome.
folks. And if you have any questions for Holly, I'll as we go a little further on, I'll open it up to a question and answer. What was I going to say? So perhaps you've, well, this is where I want to go next, Holly, and that is the reward. I so appreciate your honesty. It's really lovely for you to just talk about how doing what you do is literally, facing fear every day, every step in every day. What's the payoff? How's it coming back to you? Are you having that moment of fear, stepping through it, and then getting an affirmation that, yeah, that was the right thing to do, and feeling some moment of, yeah, good, I can relax now, or this is right, or I am going in the right direction? Or are you constantly terrified, or whatever? Where are you on that continuum?
This quote is attributed to a lot of people, but for me, it came from my daddy. Always go back to Daddy. Daddy said, if you do what you love, you never work a day in your life. And for me, that's an extra poignant remembrance, because he was a machinist, worked very much hard labor, blue collar, for all of his life to provide for the lifestyle for my brother and I. I'm a first generation college graduate. And so even though there are moments of fear, there are also great moments of faith and opportunities to do things like meet you in Bali. I think that Bali experience was, again, another affirmation in faith. I had been whispering to the universe, I have 2 weeks open in December. What should I be doing? Where should I be going to get business experience? And your partner, Jana, showed up, and we had a great call about how our work complemented each other, and we were able to make it a fit to support the work that she was doing and be a part of this Bali trip. And I actually have a blog in my outbox right now on 7 business strategies that I learned observing business transactions in Bali, a Hindu country that operates very much on karma and different principles than we do generally in North America.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Beautiful.
So you have to just keep the faith.
Yeah. So the next thing that I like to get people to talk about is, in my talk, I talk about being grateful for the whole process, i.e. there are moments when we struggle and even fail, and yet in the long run, it turns out that those seeming setbacks or steps sideways or backwards turn out to be great gifts that move us forward in a way that moving in a straight line unimpeded would not have done, would not have enabled us to have the same rich presentation or offering that we currently have. So are you willing to share any stumbles, any things that happened, any challenges that you've experienced in the last 5-6 years that really turned out to be real gifts in disguise?
The book. Mm-hmm. My book is called Control Alt Believe, Reboot Your Association for Success. Mm-hmm. It was 4 years in labor and delivery. I learned so much. That was my number 1 best-selling keynote in the association world for 4 years. Little bullet point lessons I learned. Write the book, then do the speech. Don't do the speech, then write the book. I lost quite a lot of opportunities to sell the book because I didn't have it available in the back of the room. Mm-hmm. Ego plays a little bit into it. I had my heart set on having a big publishing house. And for those experts who are looking at publishing a book, there's a lot of different goals that can happen with a book. Mm-hmm. And if you're not really clear from the beginning about that, it can set you on many paths. You can wander in the dark. And I did that for 4 years and had various editors and publishers, some that cost me significant amounts of money, and others that, again, we ask for help along the way that were able to steer me away from making bad financial investments. But when the book was in my hand a year ago in January, I'll never forget it. I came home from a trip, and it's like holding your newborn baby. And that first time that somebody in the audience reads it or references it, it's just so rewarding. And the book's won 2 national book awards, which was a goal that I kind of set after the book came out. Oh, I should apply for some book awards. That was that was kind of fun. We watched the Oscars last night, and after you win an Oscar, it's, Oscar award winning, blah, blah, blah. Once you win a book award, it's, award winning author. Those are accomplishments that took a lot of small steps. But once you get there, they cannot take that life experience away from you.
Wonderful. So is spirit strategist a term that you are using to describe yourself, or is it something that you're still trying on? Just kind of where are you with all that?
Again, sometimes we have to believe in other people's belief in us before our own belief kicks in. I was speaking with Pagina Eshavarya, another National Speakers Association member one morning. Mm-hmm. And I don't know who I am anymore. I don't know what I do. And she knew that I'd been doing strategic planning. She knew about my spirituality background. She goes, "You're a spirit strategist." And I tried it on for quite some time in the privacy of my own home. And I hired a branding company last year to do a new color, a new logo. I moved from Leadership Solutions International, which was my brand and logo, to owning my name as my brand last year. And that process really owned Spirit Strategist. And I continue to try it on a little bit for size, but people are resonating with it. It's bringing up great questions. I love Canuck Runner's comment here, spirits aren't allowed in my workplace. And it is funny because Spirit Strategist, I do get some comments. People go, "Well, I don't want a cheerleader at work." So you have to, again, have faith in the darkness that when people may not agree with your brand or may not understand what you're doing, that those who will understand, those who you are supposed to serve, will be drawn into your writing, your publishing, your books, and your speaking engagements. So it's an adventure for sure. But yeah, Spirit Strategist, the place where you bring your heart-centered principles into the workplace.
So you're feeling more comfortable describing yourself that way and just trusting that, this is exactly who I am, combining spirit, or, those two components, spirit and business, which to a lot of us would seem to be, kind of would repel each other or not be, able to be intertwined. That's something you're stepping into with more bravery, more confidence, more assurance every day.
Yes. And you have to look around. I actually just took this off my desk, but there's companies showing up all the time. This is a magazine, Conscious Business, Conscious Company. I've got 4 or 5 other books on my bookshelf on spirituality in the workplace. So this is not a foreign conversation. It's a new thought on a conversation that keeps coming. Welcome, Phil. Glad to have you.
Phil, a buddy of yours?
Yes. Great. Probably in New York, I think. Phil, where are you coming in from?
He'll answer in a minute.
Yeah, he will.
That's great. So what's next, Holly? Where are you going?
What's next? Well, I set an interesting intention in 2015 to speak 30 days a year. I didn't want to be on the road quite as much. At the height of my speaking on volunteerism, I was speaking 120 days a year, which can be hard on a life and a relationship. Mm-hmm. So I set an intention that I wanted more gigs here in Denver. Mm-hmm. And I have another gig at the beautiful Broadmoor Hotel down in Colorado Springs here in March. So that will be great. And I'm in the process of filling in consulting projects. This spirit strategy work generally starts as an opening keynote and then really works into a 6-month or annual consulting contract. So working to fill my calendar with some of that and some online classes as well.
Fantastic. And when you do your opening keynote, do you then offer breakout sessions at the same event as well, or is it just the opening keynote that generates the connections that you then make in the months afterwards?
It's open to the needs of the audience. Control, Alt, Believe, Reboot Your Organization for Success has been either an opening or closing keynote. And then I'm offering a new talk called The Unconscious Organization, which is all about bringing consciousness into the workplace. And working on the next book, which is A New Design for Business, Spirit Strategy in the Workplace. And that, of course, will have a keynote as well.
Oh, fantastic. Well, that's great. I'm just delighted to hear you talk about this, and I'd be curious to see, as I know you as a friend, to just see your ongoing evolution on this path. And I think it's wonderful that you, to my knowledge, you're the only person that is doing this, the only person that is looking at, well, as I said, in my experience, you just held out the magazine showing me that you're not the only one in the universe doing this. But in my universe, you are. So I'm happy that you are doing it, and I'm happy that you are being affirmed in it, and that there are other people who are doing similar things, so that you are, connecting with other people that are on the same wavelength that you are. Shall we open it up to questions for anybody who would like to ask you questions? Maybe Phil would like to either ask a question or, well, there you go. Love Holly's book, Control Alt Believe. There you go. He's of your tribe.
He's of the tribe, yes. Mr. Man in Orange, Phil Gerb is in the house.
Yeah, Phil, why don't you come on? Just click on call in, and we'll have you as part of the conversation for a little bit. And Lewis or Canuck, if you have something that you'd like to add to the conversation, we'd be happy to have you as well. There we go. Here's Phil. Accepting. Welcome, Phil.
Are you in the Atlanta airport?
Can't hear you.
I can see his lips saying, yes, I'm in the Atlanta airport.
Yeah. Uh-oh. He's probably on a PC.
Can you hear me?
Yes, a little bit, yes.
Hello, sorry about that. So, dinner, and I tuned in.
Whoop, we lost you again, Phil. We can see you. We can see you fine. We can't hear you.
Voice. Hold on. Let's see.
Okay.
Got you now. Do you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Good.
I can't hear you.
So, oh geez, hold on.
Still have. Oh, yeah. It's because it's just
airport signals.
It's poor internet signal.
Yeah, bad airport. Sorry. So, yeah, I just want to say, Holly's book is awesome, and everyone should read it. And Holly, So where did you get the idea for the book? Because I know the story, but I bet nobody else does.
Excellent, Phil. Thank you.
Well, the show is Small Steps, Big Life. So the book started out as Control Alt Delete, and was Control Alt Delete for 3 years of its labor and delivery process.
Wow.
And great leaders listen. And on my birthday a couple years back, I was at a meetup group, a mastermind group, again with some NSA speaker friends. And I had said to Jessica Pettit, who was in the room, Control Alt Delete, reboot your association for success. It's the same title I'd been sharing for years. And she goes, Believe? Control Alt Believe? And I go, no, you're all wrong. And she and I had a very long debate about this. And she goes, Holly, I think you should explore belief because it's in alignment with the spiritual work. I was, then 2 years into this undergraduate degree in ministerial school. And Phil and I talked about it. Certainly, I tried it on for size with other professionals. And we came to realize that in nonprofits and even really in corporate America, it's often hard to delete a process, a project, an experience that we're used to having. To create something different, and we have to tap into the beliefs under that to happen. So, yeah, it's true. Control Alt Believe came as a result of lots of great masterminds and asking around.
Yeah, it's very, very powerful, and it's a good lesson for everyone listening here to listen when people say things that are profound, even if you don't necessarily agree with them right away.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I also think it's listening to the resistance. Like in your life, if you have experience of resistance, lean into that and find out what that might mean for you. Because as you grow in your life, it's those moments of resistance that often become the catapult moments for something bigger in your life. I told the story before you jumped on about getting the column in Science of My magazine. Oh, no, I can't do it. No, I can't do it. No, I can't do it. And then ultimately leaning into the unknown.
Yeah. So, Phil, you've read this book, I take it?
Yes, sir.
And tell us about the gifts that it's given you? How has it changed you?
I think for me, the big thing is that it just reminded me that I have less control than I know. That's my big thing, because I often feel like I need both hands on the wheel. Mm-hmm. So that was probably the biggest gift that the book gave me. And then just changing some mindsets, not 180 degrees, but just a few degrees that makes a big difference.
Yeah.
Just looking at things through a different lens, especially from the belief perspective. As a fellow speaker, often we forget that we're our own best cheerleader and our own worst enemy. So I looked at the book through that lens more than I did through the nonprofit lens. And it was really helpful for that.
Wonderful. Thanks for sharing that.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks for having me on. My phone's almost dead, so I'm going to go.
Okay.
And I just want to say hi.
Safe travels.
Thanks, Phil.
Thank you. Thanks. Have fun.
Okay.
Hey, Lewis, can we catch you in an airport too? I can see that Lewis is on the line. Maybe we can catch you in an airport. Or if you have a question, feel free to type it in the chat box as well.
So in the meantime, one person is calling in. Here we go. Here's Lewis.
Hello.
Lewis, hi.
Just wanted to say hello. I'm a fellow NSA member, and I'm sorry I didn't catch the whole blab today, but it sounds like it was an awesome thing. And I just want to say hello. So that's it.
Cool.
Welcome. Where are you calling in from?
I'm out in Parker, Colorado.
Oh, you're like moments from me. I'm in Denver.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, you're. I think I've seen you around NSA stuff, but never had a chance to catch up with you.
Okay.
Well, now we have to do Colorado beverages sometime soon, and we'll be here.
Anytime, but I really appreciated hearing what you just said, and I'm going to actually pick up your book. And I went to a book writing seminar this weekend, so I'm really curious about the topic.
Cool. Tell us a little bit about you, Lewis. What do you speak about, and what's your focus? What's your passion?
And so I'm an image consultant. Talk about image, personal branding, those topics. Really work with mid-level professionals looking to move on, move up, refine their image or do something along those lines, but really people who are looking to really take it to the next level in terms of how they package themselves. And that's one of the things that too many people fail to do well. So it's a great opportunity. And Denver's actually an open market in terms of for example, dress or things like that. I'm not dressed right now for it, but I wasn't expecting to get on cam. But it's a fascinating topic and a lot of fun to do.
Well, and I would add too, Lewis, that it's not a topic often addressed by a male audience, and I hope that you might bring that perspective in as well, because I know. So often as women, we get, you got to wear this suit or this jacket or this or that. And that same element is equally important for men as well.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I have a few female clients in terms of appearance and helping them remake themselves. And it's so much tougher to work with women than men, because men, it's so simple, but this whole philosophy, the gist of what I'm getting from your talk, I really like what I'm hearing. So I can't wait to read your book. I'm gonna get it and get it read.
Is this your first? Have you written a book before?
I'm not. That's why I went to a seminar this weekend. I've been piecing one together for a while, and the seminar this weekend was with the Black Card publishing group, Jerry Robert, if you've heard the name. They publish a lot of Millionaire Mind. He wrote that. But really amazing process of learning how to really craft and really put your mind to what you want to do with the book. So now I have a plan. I have my chapters outlined. So I can't wait to put it together and use it, like you guys use as a really high-level calling card and credibility factor.
Well, now you have 2 accountability buddies, too. So,
Thank you. I appreciate that.
I'm working on just started an intention 17 minutes a day for my next book. So
nice.
That'll get it done. I can't remember how. Some friends and I, we did a 50-day challenge. That's it. 17 minutes a day for 50 days. It's just over 14 and a half hours. And that's the small step, because 4 years in labor and delivery was not fun on the first book. I highly recommend the small steps method.
Yeah. And that's what they talked about this weekend. 5 minutes a day, actually, they said. So,
wow.
Yeah, but anyway, thanks for letting me come on and say hello. And Holly, we'll go grab an adult beverage in Colorado at some point.
I look forward to that.
And, best of luck with your book.
Thank you, Nathan.
Okay, bye. Well, Wasn't that fun? Out of
Well,
all the people in the world to meet someone in your backyard. That's fun.
That's the cool thing about using Blab, you know.
Absolutely.
How many shows are you up to now?
I think I'm somewhere around 20.
Yeah.
And I've been kind of finding my way too, and how many days a week and what day and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, it's I'm really enjoying the process. It's fun.
Well, blending our messages together, you know, it's like, don't get overwhelmed. One day at a time. I mean, we had such a great experience together in Bali, and we woke up every day not really knowing what we were going to do that day, but embracing those morning walks and that quiet time of listening and the doing. We got to do a lot of things too, and that's what our viewers get to do too if they tap into one step, and not getting overwhelmed.
Yeah. And as you say that, Holly, I'm thinking about it's still one of my favorite memories of you from that trip. Being up very early one morning, and I was sitting outside, and it was around 5:30, and you very quietly appeared. You didn't see me, and I didn't want to influence your moment, so I just sat. I was doing something. I kept doing it, and I just watched you walk by, and came to discover later that day, I think, that you went out and just took hundreds of pictures, I think, of the Bali, sunrise in the beginning of the day, and I love looking at those pictures. They were very powerful. The images that you shared and what you saw through your camera on that walk was something that I was very happy to experience firsthand. So, and the reason why I bring it up is not only the power of the images, but the fact that was what you did on the very first morning there. It was this lovely intention I feel you set for the entire experience. You just really opened yourself up to it by taking the small step of getting up early and just going. So that's a nice metaphor, I think, for what you do.
Well, thank you. If you'd have told me on that first day that I'd have over 4,000 photos by the end of the trip, I would have said you were crazy. I could have never set that as a goal. And yet, as a community, we've been able to share so many great memories, and those stories will continue to come out through my writing and my work. And who knows, maybe a book on that at some point in the future.
Yeah, could be. So what have we forgotten? Is there anything else that you wanted to share that you wanted people to be aware of?
Well, honoring the conversation we had the other day is, your last point is really on gratitude. Uh-huh. And I have a personal goal that I write one handwritten thank you note every single day. Mm. And while gratitude's become a little cliche, Oprah Winfrey and her gratitude journals and all that, if you're really committing to making your life big, whatever big means for you, for some that's big is, being a mom and being in the child's preschool and doing all that, or being the dad teaching the softball games after school, whatever big means to you, really own the gratitude piece in that and find a way to make gratitude a daily practice. Maybe it's a journal of, 3 things at the end of every day. For me, it's the handwritten thank you notes, a tweet, a Facebook message. Clients remember me because of little things that I've forgotten that I did years ago in gratitude, but I always remember those things and that come to me, so I make it a big point to do that as well.
One of the phrases that I like to use is everything counts. So, the small things that we don't think are going to amount to anything actually can have a huge impact on people. So,
if you're too busy, the opportunity passes you by. I have thank you notes in my car. I have thank you notes everywhere, and it's 3 sentences, and I try to do it in 3 days. So just keep it simple. And again, that small step, little thing, little thing, little thing.
Wonderful. How can people get in touch with you? Is it hollyduckworth.com?
That's the best way. Holly, okay. Holly, Duckworth, DUCKWORTH.com. Holly at hollyduckworth.com. Okay. I check my email all the time, and I'm on LinkedIn, Facebook, and then at @Duckworth on Twitter. I know we have lots of Blab people here, so that's a great way to connect as well.
Okay, cool. And on your site, people can find out where you're speaking. They can buy your book. They can, work with you one-on-one. They can hire you to work with their companies. All those avenues and information about all those avenues are all on your site. Yes?
Absolutely. And there's a great free download there in the upper right-hand corner, 7 Spirit Strategies for Business, which is a great download if you're looking at taking baby steps into this process. If you're looking to make your little steps, those 7 strategies might help you along the way.
Great. Excellent. Thank you, Holly. See?
Always good to see you. Well, you got to come back to Denver. So
oh, yeah, absolutely.
I can take you for drinks.
You got it. Adult beverages, as Louis said.
Well, in today's world, you have to be careful. You never want to put somebody in a bad spot. So here, Louis is sending us smiles. I'm sure we're good here in the micro capital beer of the world's place.
Well, thank you, Holly. It's been a great pleasure to just share you with a wider audience. For those of you who joined us somewhere in midstream, my name is Nathan Aswell. I'm based in Vancouver, BC, Canada. The name of the show is Small Steps, Big Life, in which I like to share with a wider audience people that I think are living big lives and how they got to where they are and will continue to move even deeper into who they are by taking small steps. And today we've been speaking to Spirit Strategist, Holly Duckworth, who's based in Denver, Colorado. And you can get in touch with Holly to work with her to learn more about what she does at her website, hollyduckworth.com, HOLLYDUCKWORTH.com. Ta-da! And very shortly, within the hour or so, I will have a link to this show on that I will send to you, Holly, and I will have it on my YouTube page as well, so that people who missed the beginning of it, like Louis, will be able to watch it at their leisure, at their convenience, whenever they'd like to. So thanks for saying yes to the adventure, my dear Holly. I wish you well in everything, and yeah, I look forward to seeing you when I'm next in your hood, or who knows, maybe online before that.
Yay, sounds great. Have a good night.
Okay, thanks, Holly. Goodbye, everyone. Thanks for watching.